It says literally myriads, were followers of Christ in Jerusalem. That's 20,000 disciples. So does Matthew have to tell you every single one he calls?
Probably didn't know.
No. The point is the main ones and the way he called them. Matter of fact, does it tell us how he called the other disciples?
No.
The other, how many is it? 8.
No.
No. Why?
It wasn't important to Matthew.
Not the point.
Well, he told you. He called them by saying, come on. And he would use different terminology probably. I mean, he probably wouldn't say, I'll make you fishers of men to Matthew, who was a tax collector. And we do get to see Matthew's calling later on. But the point is that the author doesn't need to. And how many disciples? Who knows? Right, we're going to find out. We're going to find out how many disciples. In any case, the nature of Christ. The end of the nature of Christ. The end of the nature of Christ. Number 1. He looks like an Essene. He looks like a zealot, an angry Pharisee. He calls people vipers. He runs for the fight. He is described in Messianic literature as a warrior. He is casting a declaration of war against Herod. And he is using the same terminology that John the Baptist, who's now in jail, in prison, used. Repent, for the kingdom of heaven is near. Same words. If this is the thesis of Matthew, what should we expect to see about these words? The kingdom of heaven is near. We should see them repeated, right? The context repeated. Everything repeated over and over again. Well, let's see. Let's see. Matthew 5. Now when he saw the crowds, and literally it's ochlos, the riotous throng of people. The riotous throng of people. What is this riotous throng of people? They're just hired, right? What do they call that? They have a name for that. AstroTurf. AstroTurf, Where do they come from? Who are they looking for?
Looking for the Messiah.
The king.
King, yeah, a leader.
Well, you guys are getting way far. Right now, from what Matthew told us, who are they looking for? Jesus. Jesus. This guy, Jesus. This guy, Jesus. And what did he do? He called them. We want to think he called 4 guys. It's evident that it's not 4 guys he called. What did he call?
Bunch of guys.
Bunches. So much that it describes it in chapter 5, the beginning of chapter 5. Now he saw the crowds, the okolos, the righteous throng of people that were all disciples that wanted to hear him. See? Preaching the message. Because remember, what did John find? John the Baptist. Riotous throngs of people. Well, it doesn't quite describe it that way, but a lot of people came to see John the Baptist and be purified by him, right? In the baptism. Did you have a question? I'm sorry, I just cut your hand for a second.
No, I didn't raise my hand. I have several questions. But...
Oh, well, ask it away. Ask away. And it says, and listen to words, it says, he went up on a oros, which means a high place, and sat down. Now, okay, Greek culture. What does it mean when you sit down on the ground?
Resting.
For us, if you sit down on the ground, what does it mean? You're resting. You're having lunch.
It's casual.
You're tired. Well, think about this, okay? Think about this very carefully. In the ancient world, you sat on, what did you sit on when you went to your house?
Cushions.
Cushions, the bare floor, maybe some piece of wood on the floor if you could afford it, a mat probably, because you didn't want to do what?
Get dirty.
Get your clothes dirty. Because you only had how many pairs?
One
pair of clothes. Nobody had multiple pairs of clothes unless you were middle class or rich, and very few middle class, mostly rich people there. So a rich person might have 2 pairs of clothes.
Wow.
And boy, you stunk. They didn't wash them very often either. So ladies, you didn't have to wash a lot of stuff. No dishes, none of that stuff. So anyway, when you sit down,
What did they do?
they didn't eat lunch, right? You may have eaten 1 meal a day. That's it. Maybe at lunch, maybe at noon, maybe dinner. We don't know exactly. We know they only usually ate 1 meal a day The Roman legions got 2 meals a day, one at breakfast and one in the afternoon, evening. And it's not what you want. If you read my book, you'll find out, Centurion talks about gruel, no meat. They had gruel, usually wheat gruel, which is much better than, malto meal is pretty much better than the other kind of gruels, barley gruel or whatever. And they usually had beer, maybe some wine, maybe a little bit of olive oil on top, if you were lucky. So, if you're lucky. So, people didn't have a lot to eat. It wasn't sitting down for lunch, wasn't it? So why did you sit down? Why would you sit down and dirty your clothes? To talk. To talk. This is Greek worldview. People love to talk, and Jesus went to a high place to talk. In general, if people gathered around you, that meant they want to listen to what you had to say. So what happens? It says, his disciples came to him. Now remember, when he saw the Okolos, the riotous throng of people, when they're at Capernaum, ain't nothing at Capernaum except Tiberias, so, where did they come from? They came from all over to see this guy. And he sits down, his disciples. Now, we want to think, how many disciples? Well, there's only 4 we know of right now, but we want to think there's 12. But what did they mean? And by the way, don't let the word disturb you. The word is mathetes. Mathetes means learners. So if you didn't know there was a word like disciples, which meant that what do we talk, when we say disciples, we think we mean the 12 apostle guys, right? When I tell you that the word is his mathetes, his learners came to him, what do you now know?
The crowd.
It was a crowd of people looking for him. So we, by translating it, this way, draw the wrong conclusion already. So it's more than 12, it's a bunch of guys, but we kind of get that. He began to teach them, saying. Literally, it is, and he opened his mouth, and diakasto, which means taught them. And then it says, and I love that the King James is a lot better, lego, arguing. See, in the NIV it says he began to teach them, saying. But the King James says, and he opened his mouth, and diakasto, taught them, legoing. You see a huge difference here? He's legoing, he's arguing with them. He's going to give them a what? A logos to telos argument in the Greek. That's what he's telling them. He sat down on the ground, he's got his robes dirty, and all these other guys standing, sitting around, and usually you were sitting because you wanted to be lower than the master. That's the way it worked. So, and the first thing he says is this. Makios. M-A-R-M-A-K-A-R-I-O. Markio comes from Markios. This is a very important word. It's a Greek word that it comes from poetry, Greek poetry. Makar is the basis of the word. It's found in Greek poetry. Sure what I said? How would this guy, Jesus, know this word from Greek poetry? What does this imply?
He's educated.
He knows something about Greek literature beyond, we think of Jesus as some bumpkin that knew the Torah, we assume he knew all the Torah and Tanakh, but we know from the other thing that he knew, the Talmud, he probably knew the Mishnah. Well, now this is telling us that he may have known something about Greek literature, because he uses a poetic term, makar. Makaros means literally, extremely blessed are you. Let me see it. I've got it's in my notes, but what did I tell you? Because I have to dig into it.
Supremely
It's on the
blessed,
bottom.
extension, fortunate, well off.
Yeah, supremely blessed, fortunate, well off. But it's a poetic term in Greek. So you find this in Greek literature applied in these kind of terms. So this would be, he's talking to fishermen. What does this also imply? Who's in this crowd?
Also some educated people.
Some pretty educated people. I mean, when I was taught to teach, they taught me to teach to the top 20% of the class. And the other 80% would follow because they'd either ask questions or they would, the top 20% hopefully ask questions too. But the point is that through their questioning and through working together with the other parts or through other explanation and repetition, everybody would get the point. See? That's what you do when you teach subjects that are, life and death, like airplane flying and things like that. So you basically teach to the top 20% because you don't want to bore your students. You want your students to have great gobs of knowledge. And plus, I want all you guys to be top 20% learners. See? Unfortunately, if we were really grading the class, I always grade on a curve, so it would be like, so most of you guys would all be C's, but, we'd have to do tests, right? And that would be painful. But in any case, it says, Markios, supremely blessed, and look at the word. This is why, let's see, where is it?
All right.
Where is it? I have to look at my thing. Let's
Last
see.
one.
Very last one.
Because I actually gave you the, what I did is I always give you the terms in the Greek right out of the New Testament. So many of them, they have declensions, they have the source, they're actually right out of the source. P-T-O-C-H-O-I. Pachoi. Patochoi. Let's see, what is that in Greek? The form of it is patochos, which means literally to crouch, like a beggar cringes, like a pauper. It literally means to crouch, to cringe. It assumes or is figurative for being a beggar or being super poor. So look what it says. It says, it's really not are poor. It literally means those who publicly cringe to beg. So you walk on a street and a beggar publicly cringes to beg. That's what it means, literally in the Greek. It says, blessed are those who publicly cringe to beg in pneuma. That's a hard breath in the air, but it literally means in the Greek, or it means in the Greek, the Spirit of God, or the spirit of a man, the soul part, the spirit part. And look what it says. For theirs is the basileia, the reign of Uranus, the dwelling place of the gods. So the thesis of Jesus is what? Repent, for the kingdom of heaven is at hand, is approaching, is Aegeus. And so what is the first step?
Holy Spirit. Humble yourself.
Cringe like a beggar. What does a beggar do when he cringes? What is he doing?
Gets lower than that.
Well, what is he doing? If I'm begging,
Lord.
how do you know that I want money?
You're gonna hold your hand up.
Well, you got to hold it and say, sir, please give it to me, give it to me, give it to me. You see the image here?
Yes.
The image here is that you're begging and cringing for what? For the Spirit. And if you're begging and cringing for the Spirit, you got it. You're getting the point here. Look what it follows. It's wonderful how it follows. The next one is in 4. And it's the same word. Makarios. Supremely blessed are those who, and the word in Greek is pentheo. Pentheo. P-E-N-T-H-O-E-N-T-E-S. Pantheotis, because that's the form. Pentheo. Pentheo literally means to grieve. Okay. Greek culture. Hebraic culture. How do you grieve? Huh?
Cloth and ashes.
Crying, wailing. If you've ever been to if you've ever seen an ancient funeral, okay, Greeks do the same thing. Ah! It's wailing. Okay, look what it says. Blessed are those who wail, who grieve by wailing. They wail, for they will, and this is my favorite word in the New Testament, almost. P-A-R-A-K-L-E-T-H, and this is an odd form because of the form that Christ uses, T-A-I. Paraklethestoneia. Parakleo. Guys, anybody remember parakleo? Near calling. Like a mother or father calls you near. The assumption in Greek is, okay, when your mother or father calls you near, there's 2 reasons why they would call you near. The one is to comfort you. The other is to chastise you. So in Greek literature, when you see the word parakleo, and by the way, if you look, I think I give you examples because the King James translates this: beseech, call for, comfort, desire, exhort, entreat, and pray. Does anybody get that this is not we want to,